All right, let's talk about something that's honestly a game changer for any team out there, accountable leadership. Today we're going to break down what that really means and why it's so incredibly powerful. So let's dive right in. You know, let's just start with a simple question. Think about any big decision, a great one or even a not so great one. Who actually stands behind it? Is there someone who clearly says, yep, that was me? Really thinking about that, well, that's the first step to getting what real leadership is all about.
So, what are we really talking about here? Well, the source material defines accountable leadership as a whole culture of ownership. It's not just a personality thing. It's about creating an environment where leaders take full responsibility for their calls and for the results, whether they're good or bad. And that's what builds the rock-solid foundation of integrity and trust.
Okay, that all sounds good in theory, right? But how does this idea actually make you a better leader? How does it sharpen your decision-making? Well, it all comes down to two fundamental pillars.
Yep, just two. And what's so cool is how they work together. See, one is all about the thinking that happens before you even make a decision, and the other is about the trust you build after you've made it. And believe me, these aren't just fuzzy ideas, they are practical tools that completely change the game.
So here they are, immediate ownership and transparency. Let's break them down one by one, starting with that first one. What does immediate ownership actually look like in the real world?
Okay, so this first pillar is all about the prep work. It's about what's going on in a leader's head before the final call is even made. This is where accountability starts to work its magic, right from the very beginning.
And what's really fascinating is the chain reaction that happens. When you know a decision is yours, you can't help but think through all the possible outcomes. It forces you to analyze every angle. Naturally, that leads to way more informed decisions. And here's the kicker. You'd think all this extra thought would slow things down, right? But it's the opposite. It actually leads to faster, more confident decisions because you've already done the hard work.
All right, so that's pillar one. Now for part two. Once the decision is made, the game shifts. It's no longer just about the thinking, it's about the communication. And this is where transparency becomes your single greatest tool for building trust.
The source material gives us this perfect tale of two leaders to make it crystal clear. On one side, you've got the secretive leader. Decisions just appear, no explanation. On the other side, you've got the accountable leader. They're open, they share the why, and, this is huge, they own up to it when things go wrong. Pretty clear which one you'd rather work for, isn't it?
And here's the payoff, spelled right out. That transparency isn't just about being nice, it's a massive strategic advantage. Teams will trust and respect that second leader way more. And notice that last part? It becomes absolutely critical in high-pressure moments. That's when you need your team to just go without a second of hesitation.
I mean, just look at this chart. The numbers really speak for themselves, don't they? The difference in team trust is just night and day. We're not talking about a small improvement here. This is a completely different world of team health and performance.
And this is so important to get. Trust isn't some fluffy, feel-good thing. It's the fuel in the engine of your team. It's what keeps morale high when things get tough, and it's what motivates people to actually turn a decision into action. Without that trust, even the best decision can fall flat.
Okay, so we've walked through the what and the how. Let's boil it all down. What's the one thing you absolutely need to take away from all of this? Why does this really matter to you?
At the end of the day, here's what it all comes down to. Being an accountable leader isn't just about making yourself look good. It's about building the entire structure, the very architecture that your team stands on. A foundation of integrity and trust that lets everyone, not just you, do their absolute best work.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. As you think about your own leadership style or the leaders you've worked with in the past, the question is simple, but it's powerful. When the chips are down and the pressure's on, which leader would you follow?